I found Scratch replacements that are better than Scratch. Let me explain. February 27th, 2025. 2:25 p.m. That is the day that I was permanently banned from Scratch. I've been using Scratch for 6 years now, and in this current state, I can't post a project, make a new account, or even post a comment. And for the first week, I was just in shock and I didn't really do anything. I just tried to distract myself from the situation and did nothing. But I couldn't avoid the feeling that kept on lurking inside of me. That's why I've decided to stop being such a bum, and for the next 5 days, try a new programming platform every single day until I finally find one that is better than Scratch. Probably wondering what app we're gonna use to replace Scratch, and the answer is Gandhi IDE. If you've been following my channel for a little while now, you probably know that I've actually made a full video on Gandhi in the past. I've used Gandhi in the past, and it was an interesting experience. So I think I have a lot of things to say about Gandhi IDE. So first of all, it's really similar to Scratch. It's a Scratch mod, so it basically it just stole all the things from Scratch and it just added a few of its own features. It'll be a very smooth transition since I don't have to adapt to Gandhi because I already know what Gandhi is like. Next thing that I have to say about Gandhi IDE is that the moderation is less strict. So you can post external links to my your Discord or something, and the Gandhi IDE team won't get mad at you. Unlike Scratch team, obviously, because we all know that Scratch team loves to ban people. The next thing I have to say about Gandhi IDE is that the community is dead. So actually, this is a problem. It's not a good thing. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you'd know that a lot of them are just trying to go viral on Scratch, trying to do social kind of experiments, and without a community to try these experiments on, then my videos won't be able to work very well. You're probably wondering, what game are you going to be making? And I actually brainstormed a little bit of an idea. So what's this game idea, you're asking? So the game is going to be called Glitch, and then it's going to be glitch game or glitch escape, something like that. Okay, I don't know the exact name, but I know that it's gonna have the word glitch. I actually got this idea from ChatGPT. Full disclosure, I'm not gonna lie. So basically, you are a player, but the thing is, the game you are playing in is glitched. That's crazy information. So just pretend this is the glitch. It's the glitching game. It's coming towards you. See, it's coming towards you. There's an arrow, and now that it's coming towards you, you need to try to escape as well. But as you go, there's gonna be some obstacles, obviously, and it's gonna be a pretty cool challenge. And I was also thinking that the player could have the ability to teleport through walls. So he'll go from here to here because he can glitch through the walls. See where I'm going with this? So basically the entire game is just based off the glitch mechanic. Only problem is we only have 1 day to make this game, so we're gonna have to do this really quick. Okay, let's get started. I'm gonna snap my fingers. It's gonna be really cool. It's not actually a cool transition. I'm not gonna snap my fingers. To start off day 1, I signed into my Gandhi account. I had quite a few messages, so I checked all of them. Anyways, after doing that, I created a new project and got right into coding. I started by creating some platforming physics. Now you can move around. After that, I started creating the glitch effect that would chase the player around. I think I did a pretty decent job. I really like the animation that I added to it. I feel like it makes it feel more like the game is actually glitching and falling apart. It just makes everything a bit more realistic. The next thing that I created were these game over and win screens. They're pretty simple, and they just indicate whether the player has won or lost, if that wasn't already obvious. Now it was time to switch the player art from the default Gandhi character to this red cube. I thought that this would be more fitting because the game was supposed to have an unfinished and buggy vibe to it. The next thing that I did was create some levels for the game. This was actually relatively easy to do. I didn't actually need to make the levels hard or anything. I just needed to make generic levels. The thing that would make the game unique was the glitch effect that was chasing you around, not the level design. After this, I decided to add these dangers that can kill you if you touch them. So now the game has an added challenge. But something that I realized was that it could be a little bit confusing for the player at the beginning of the game, because right when they click the green flag, they die within a few seconds without any context of what happened. This didn't feel fair to the user, so I decided to add some instructions that gave some context to the player. That way, the player knew what to expect when the game started. The next thing that I did was change the art for the player. I know that earlier I said that I preferred having an unfinished vibe, but honestly, it just having the player art as a square felt really lazy to me. So I started drawing and came up with a character that looked half decent. But now I decided that I wanted this art to follow a color palette that would fit the art. So I found one, and no, that looks terrible. Okay, so then I found another color palette, and this one looks bad. No, it looks just as bad. Alright, let me just find a good one. On the third try, I finally found a color palette that worked and didn't look skibbity. At this point, the game was almost done, so I changed some of the other art of the game to match the color palette that I had chosen. And I also created a pretty nice thumbnail. Now it was time to share the game, so I clicked the button. This game wasn't bad, and Gandhi was definitely a good option if I wanted to replace Scratch. So, well, right off the bat, one good thing about Scratch Jr. is that, if you couldn't tell by the name already, it's created by Scratch. It'll probably, hopefully, be similar to Scratch. But actually, this app has a lot of downsides. No online. You heard that right. There's no online features for Scratch Jr. And another bad thing is it's for little kids. That's the worst thing. It's for little kids. So yeah, that's very young. I think I might be like a tiny bit older than that age range. So that's not very good. But now that we've talked a little bit about Scratch Jr., you might be wondering, okay, Viiperrr, so what are we actually going to be like making? Like, what game are you gonna be making today? Yesterday you made like the glitch game. So what are you making today on Scratch Jr.? And to that I have to say, Flappy Bird. So there's a lot of videos on Scratch Jr. on YouTube. The game that they always try to make is Flappy Bird. So I think I'm gonna go on with that trend and make a Flappy Bird game. If you don't know, Flappy Bird is the game with like the pipes, and now there's also, of course, the bird, and we are going to make it. But honestly, before we actually start working on this game, I think that I need to address the elephant in the room. After all, I made this video because I am banned on Scratch, and a lot of you are probably wondering why I'm banned in the first place. So let me tell you why right now. Let me just switch the camera. This all started around 2 months ago. At that time, I was filming a video where I was trying to become the most famous Scratcher of 2025 and went undercover on an account called Portal. And if I wanted to get fame, then I would need to make a viral game. I decided to just make a random generic platformer. But when it came time to share it, I didn't really feel like promoting it manually like I usually do. So I had the not so bright idea of creating a comment bot that would ask people for feedback on the game. But since I was scared that the Portal account would get banned, I decided to create an alt account, Dordled. I would post the comments using Dordled, and if I got banned for abusing the bot, Dordled would receive the consequences, and not Portaled. After running the bot for a few hours, as I expected, Scratch Team had banned and deleted Dordled. Thankfully, Portaled was not affected. After this experience, I never used a comment bot again. Fast forward around 2 months later, I was creating another new video, and on the first day of the challenge, I shared a link to a Discord server. Scratch doesn't allow Discord links, so when I woke up on the second day of the challenge, the account was banned and deleted. I wasn't too sad because this wasn't my main account, and my main account wasn't affected. Just kidding, my main Scratch account was now banned. But the thing that I found interesting was the reason for my ban. The reason for my ban wasn't the Discord link, it was the Dordled incident. The thing that's weird about that is that the Dordled incident happened around 2 months ago, but that's not all. My ban message also told me to check the Dordled account for more information. The only problem with that is that Dordled was deleted by Scratch Team 2 months ago. And once again, that's not all. When you have a permanently banned Scratch account, Scratch Team typically gives you an option to appeal your ban at the bottom of your ban notification. But because Dordled was the problem, there was no appeal option at the end of my notification. And instead, Scratch Team gave the appeal option to Dordled. The only problem with that is that Dordled is deleted. This leaves me with basically no way to ask Scratch Team to get my account back and no way to appeal. I am stuck. This day began with me downloading Scratch Jr. on my iPad. After further reflection, I've realized that Scratch Jr. is also accessible on PC, but at the time, I had no idea. Anyways, I started by creating some Flappy Bird art. I think it turned out pretty good, especially considering I drew it by hand. The next thing that I did was try to find a way to detect if the up arrow key had been pressed, but I soon realized that there was no such block on this app, so I had to get creative. I decided to just create a new sprite that would be used as a button. This worked pretty well. After that, I added in this grass that would basically be the background of this game, and also if you touch it, then you die. But now, I realized that the up arrow button wasn't on the front layer. I looked through the Scratch Jr. blocks, and it turns out there's no front layer block. I was completely stumped and had to resort to deleting the sprite and remaking it. Anyways, the next thing that I did was create a lose screen. Scratch Jr. actually has scenes on like Scratch, and I think that they're really useful. So basically, you can switch from one screen of the game to another. This is like the only thing so far that Scratch Jr. has over Scratch. Anyways, I continued working on the game by trying to add in gravity. However, this proved to be quite a struggle. My first thought was to have it so that the player was always moving down, and when they hit the up arrow key, then they would move up a tiny bit. However, to my surprise, this didn't work, as it would lag every single time that I hit the up arrow key. It took a little bit of brainstorming, but I eventually realized that I could just have it so that the player would move down only after the up arrow was pressed. It still didn't really make sense to me as to why this worked, but I'm definitely not complaining. The next thing that I did was create the pipes that the bird would have to avoid. They looked and worked pretty well. I was now done with the game, and I must say, I don't think this is the best option for replacing Scratch. I would be lying to you if I said that I was in a good mood right now. I'm gonna be honest right here, but for maybe the past 3 nights, I've literally been having dreams about my Scratch account being unblocked. It's like really weird, honestly. Kind of shows how obsessed I am with Scratch at this point, but I really want my Scratch account to be unblocked. I don't really want to be making this video right now. I don't have that much motivation to make this video, and I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to create a new account on a new website. I wish I could just continue being Viiperrr on Scratch. Tinker. I think it's used in a lot of schools. We used it in my school in 5th grade. And it's like a coding program. I'm assuming it's similar to Scratch. I'm pretty sure it's block based, but yeah, we're gonna be trying to use Tinker. So the good thing about Tinker is it's popular. I'm not sure why it's popular. I'm not sure if it's it's good or something, but that's all I know. Another thing that we should know about Tinker, there's a lot of built-in stuff with Tinker. I'm pretty sure they have a platforming engine built in, so that makes it much easier to create games. I haven't really used it in the past. I haven't really heard about it either. But we'll see, and maybe it'll be good. Okay, let's get to coding. I started off by creating a Tinker account. There was a weird intro to the website, so I skipped that and began progress on making a game. I decided that I wanted to make a simple space shooter game, so I started by creating some player art. But something that I noticed was that the background was white, and since space shooters occur in, well, space, I needed to change this. But I was surprised by how difficult it was to do this. The Tinker editor was not intuitive at all, and unlike Scratch, everything was really overcomplicated. Anyways, I eventually was able to change the backdrop, which was nice. But now I noticed that the player looked weird because the outline was in black and the background was now black as well. So I changed the outline to be white. The next thing that I did was create some player movement scripts. They ended up feeling quite airy and they fit the space vibe pretty well. However, I realized that you could go off stage. So to try and fix this, I made some collision scripts. But these didn't work and instead broke my movement scripts. I tried fixing this for a while, but I eventually got frustrated and quit. I tried looking around to see what else Tinker had to offer, and I learned that you could also make Minecraft skins for some reason. So I just painted an entire skin green. I don't really know why, but I just did, okay? Anyways, I snapped back to reality and remembered that I was making a coding video and needed to make a game. But instead of going back to Space Shooter, I decided to try making another game. I saw that they had some pre-made game templates, so I tried making a dodgem game. But I was sad to realize that it didn't even require you to do any coding, and instead, you just selected some options. I ended up with a finished game, but it didn't have any actual personality because I barely even did anything except for clicking a few buttons to make it. It was definitely the worst option so far for replacing Scratch. Okay guys, so today I didn't really make a game, and no, Tinker, it is just not it, bro. Tinker is just not it. It's just like Scratch but bad. It just, it's just not the same, bro. Like, they're making it too simple. They're making it too easy, and they're not teaching you the actual logic. And it just has everything done for you, so it's way too easy. And it doesn't give you any customization like Scratch does. So this is not, it's not good. No, definitely not. Hopefully, the engine that we're using tomorrow will be a lot better than this. Hello again, Sigmas. Today it's day 4. It's not looking good. We really haven't found any program that is really that good, like, compared to Scratch. But I'm actually feeling kind of hopeful today because the program that we're going to be using is Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. The first thing about it is obviously that it is created by Microsoft. So yeah, so hopefully the fact that Microsoft is a big company means that they can make a good programming Scratch ripoff. I know my friend Jackson Academy used it in a video before, so that's why I'm doing it. But anyways, you're probably wondering, Viiperrr, what game are we going to be making today? So it's just gonna be like a maze game. So we can just draw our player, and then we're gonna have like a maze. Okay, pretend this is a great maze. Very realistic and good maze right here. So this is our maze. Okay, there's a time limit. So you have, like, for example, like 60 seconds to make it through the maze. But the thing that makes this even harder, you can't see the maze at all. But you will have 5 times where you can unblur the maze, and the player can just see where they need to go. So it's kind of like a game of memorization. So the player needs to memorize the paths that they need to go down. And they have 5 times to unblur the maze to be able to see it. I think this is a pretty simple idea. I don't think it'll be too hard to code, but I also think that is pretty unique and cool. So let's get to coding. I started this day off by playing some MakeCode games. I played this platformer and it was actually really good, and it gave me some hope for this platform. However, something I noticed was that the screen resolution was really weird. You know that is bad when it's even worse than Scratch's. Anyways, I decided it was now time to start working on the actual game. I began by trying to create some player art. I really liked MakeCode's art editor, however, it didn't let me pick any of the colors that I wanted to use, so I had to just use Piskel instead. I ended up creating a pretty good walking animation with the Pico 8 color palette. I think it looks cute. And at this point, I was thinking, man, the pixel art is turning out pretty good. But to be honest, I have to give credit to Skillshare's Pixel Art Mastery for Video Games course for my pixel art knowledge. And Skillshare is sponsoring this video. But talking about the pixel art course, the reason I love it is because it gives you great principles and techniques for making pixel art. You learn about lines, shapes, color theory and harmony, color paths, designing characters, backgrounds, items, making animations, and so much more. Skillshare is the largest online learning community. At Skillshare, there are thousands of wonderfully made classes in countless categories, such as coding, art, web design, and even Scratch. The first 500 to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today, and also thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The next thing that I did was try to import my art into the game. However, this is where my struggle started, as I couldn't find a way to do this. I searched for help on Google and ended up finding the MakeCode documentation. However, it didn't provide much help. I didn't really have an idea of what to do next, so I decided to just watch Jackson Academy's video where he made his own game using MakeCode. I was hoping that maybe if I watched his video, I could see how he made art, but he wasn't a lot of help. Thanks a lot, Sully. I then tried to use Google to help me once again and stumbled across this YouTube video. Finally, I was able to import my art. The next thing that I did was create a tile map for the maze. However, I was having some difficulty with it showing on screen. Although I had created it, it wasn't appearing. But then suddenly I could see it. I'm not complaining, but this was really weird and confusing. After that, I added in some movement for the player. It felt weird because I had already spent so much time, and only now did I start creating code. Anyway, something that I noticed was that the maze was way too big. I thought I could just use a scale block, but the thing is, there is no scale block, so I had to make an entirely new level. The next thing that I did was create some collisions between the player and the level. They seem to be working okay at the moment. After that, I created the feature that hid the level. Now you can only see the level at the very beginning of the game. This was actually quite difficult, and it felt nice to finally have it working. At this point, I started to playtest my game, and I realized that the collisions were actually kinda buggy. It took me a while to find out why. I needed a hitbox, so I quickly threw one together. This game was starting to come together now, and I started to wrap things up. I added in a windscreen, and that was it. Today was a very difficult and tedious day, but it was still a huge improvement from the day before. That was probably like the most difficult coding I've ever done in my life. That was so tedious. It was so terrible. Like, oh my goodness, man. MakeCode is honestly a really good program. I will give them that. It's just I'm not really used to the stuff, and it's just very unfamiliar to me. I mean, it's a definite improvement from like Tinker in Scratch Junior. But yeah, tomorrow we're gonna have an even better, hopefully, game engine. Or like scratch replacement, and I think that this might just be the one tomorrow. I'm not gonna say it now, but I think tomorrow we might have like an actual replacement, like something that I could actually use to replace Scratch. Okay, so it is day 5 today. Sorry if my house is a bit loud. And you're probably wondering, what am I gonna be doing today? Let me just show you. First, we have to erase this skibbity toilet that I drew. Godot. So if you don't know, Godot is like probably like the biggest game engine right now. It's actual programming. And I actually do have some experience with Godot. So I made a video with my friend McTonk, and in that video we competed to see who can make the best Godot game. Obviously I won, but that's like besides the point. And another thing is that you guys like really want me to do this. Like you guys like keep on asking me like in the comment section of my videos, oh you should try Godot, you should try Godot, Viiperrr, you should try Godot. Okay, so that's why I am finally doing it. I think there's a pretty high chance that this is like the best option. Yeah, let's just see what it has to offer and finish this challenge off. I started this day by opening Godot. I was initially confused about what I needed to do. It had been a few months since I had last used Godot, so it took a while to get back on track. I decided that it would be a good decision if I followed a tutorial to help me out for the time being. I found this tutorial by Brackies, and I was able to create gravity, which was pretty cool. At this point, it was getting late in the day. I knew that I couldn't sleep though, because that would mean that I failed. I guess it's day 6 right now. Anyways, I started off by coming up with an actual idea for the game. My plan was to recreate, in development, my best Scratch game. I wanted to do this remake justice, so I knew that I had to lock in. I started by trying to find a way to make tiles spawn in-game, just like they do in the original in development. I ended up following a tutorial on destructive tiles, however, this wasn't much help. I tried using multiple tutorials for a little while, until I decided to give up. So I did what every good programmer does, and I hopped on ChatGPT. But the funny thing is, ChatGPT actually started cooking up, and soon it was giving me scripts that worked really well. I was super surprised because I had initially doubted that it would be of any help. However, the more I started to work with ChatGPT, the more errors it started to make. I ended up talking to it for so long, and it ended up just wasting so much time. Sorry. This is because, for some reason, it kept leading me in circles. I would get an error, ask it to fix it, and when I tried using the code, it just gave me the same error. So I ended up using a version of the code that ChatGPT made that did work. However, the problem with this was that in this version, the tiles would just replace the tiles that were already existing on the screen. I tried tinkering around with the code for a while, and eventually I got something that actually worked. Wait, no, that doesn't work. Actually, instead of creating new tiles, my code started deleting tiles. So I guess it's time to ditch in development and instead create in destruction. Anyways, I decided that now was a good time to add in some art for the game. So I added in the player costumes from in development and animated the player. Now I just needed to create a level for the game and we were done. I had a really fun time making a game in Godot, and it might just be the best Scratch replacement that we've found so far in this video. Alright, so it is the end of the day. It's the end of day 5, and we completed this challenge. We managed to try out all of the 5 Scratch knockoffs. But honestly, I feel like none of these really compare to Scratch in any way. I feel like Scratch is just so superior to all of these options. I don't know what to do, because if Scratch team, if they don't unban me, then what am I gonna do? I genuinely can't live without Scratch. It's been like around like a month now since I was banned, but this is I don't know. I think I could only go a few more months without Scratch. But hopefully they will unban me. I think they will. If you're watching this, Scratch team, please have mercy on me. I hope you enjoyed this video. But I'm actually not gonna go to bed yet, even though it is getting a little bit late. I have some things to actually do. Wait, is it actually unbanned? Wait, no way. Is it actually unbanned? That was just another dream, wasn't it?